There is no way in hell Akpabio can explain that, this was just a coincidence or this just happened spontaneously. The fact that he did not show up by himself, to the Interparliamentary Union, but sent a woman. Not only did he not show up, he sent a woman, to go and represent him at the Interparliamentary Union, where Akpoti Natasha has gone to report, what has been going on at the Senate level in Nigeria. Before we delve right into the details of today's news, if this is your first time here, you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Like this video, also leave your opinions in the comment section as well. The most surprising thing is that you would expect for this woman to reject the offer, when they came to tell her that, okay, you are the one that will go and represent us, to explain the situation of things at the Interparliamentary Union. But she did not decline. She actually carried herself, and went, to this meeting, Interparliamentary Union meeting. Can you imagine? Some days ago, if you have not been following the news, Akpoti Natasha, went to the Interparliamentary Union, to explain what has been going on, how she was, sexually harassed by the Senate president, and she was not even given the benefit of the doubt when she was slammed with 6 months suspension. Not only was she given 6 months suspension, her security aides were, removed. She's not allowed to go anywhere and address herself as a senator. She's not allowed in the vicinity of the National Assembly. Can you imagine that? Like I said in a previous video, I have never seen, such stringent punishment, given to a senator before, ever. Anyway, guys, let's take a look at the details. The Senate yesterday defended its decision to suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan before the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, the global organization of national parliaments, maintaining that the federal lawmaker was not given the marching orders for alleged sexual harassment case, but for gross misconduct against the upper chambers. The House Committee Chairperson on Women Affairs and Social Development, Kafilat Ogbara, in a statement she read before the IPU, noted that it was the lawmakers' reaction to the previous day's allegations by Akpoti-Uduaghan at the 69th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women that she was treated badly for the sexual harassment case. In Akpoti-Uduaghan's earlier presentation before IPU, she had alleged, among others, that she was suspended for challenging alleged sexual harassment by the Senate President Akpabio. But in response, Ogbara affirmed Nigerians' commitment to the principles of justice and due process and to the protection of fundamental human rights, explaining that as a nation, the country recognizes the gravity of sexual harassment and acknowledges the necessity of addressing such allegations with all sense of responsibility. Such allegations demand a thorough, impartial, and transparent investigation. At the same time, we must ensure that fairness is upheld for all individuals involved and that justice is neither predetermined nor one-sided. Nigeria remains firmly committed to upholding women's rights and combating gender-based violence through strong legal frameworks and institutions. Our parliament and judiciary continue to undergo reforms to strengthen these efforts. The ongoing legislative initiatives seek to address historical imbalances in women's representation in our parliament, including the Reserve Seats Bill and other crucial proposed constitutional amendments aimed at safeguarding the rights and privileges of women. These efforts underscore our commitment to fostering a more inclusive and equitable political space, she stated, stressing that the allegations raised against the Nigerian Senate and the Senate President Akpabio had garnered significant attention both within Nigeria and internationally. Ogbara said that it was equally important to acknowledge that the Senate President, in its official capacity, had strongly denied these allegations. It is important to recognize that both the allegations made and the responses provided are serious matters that require careful and unbiased scrutiny. This issue, which remains sub judice, involves multiple elements, including allegations of sexual harassment and potential violations of Senate rules. While it is necessary to engage in introspection and understand any potential connections, these matters must also be considered separately. It is imperative that we uphold the principles of fairness and ensure that no individual is prematurely judged without a transparent and impartial process. Therefore, I call for the following actions: a thorough and unbiased investigation, ensure that all claims and defenses are examined fairly and transparently, protection of all parties involved, safeguarding the rights of all individuals, and preventing any form of intimidation or retaliation, accountability and transparency, and upholding institutional integrity by ensuring the due process is rigorously followed, the Senate said. Reading from a text signed by the Senate leader, Okoyemi Bamidele, the Senate reiterated that Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended for gross misconduct and unruly behavior, and not as a result of allegation of sexual harassment or assault. The authority of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria firmly refutes the deliberate misinformation and false narratives being circulated by certain media organizations regarding the 6-month suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Let it be unequivocally stated that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan was suspended solely for persistent acts of misconduct, blatant disregard for the provisions of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, and gross indiscipline, nothing more, nothing less, she added. According to the Senate, if Akpoti-Uduaghan had strictly followed its guiding principles, the Senate would have treated her petition based on merits in line with its practice, noting that she never obeyed the established practices of the institution where she was serving. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension was a decision of a committee of the whole Senate following the submission of a report by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges. The report found her guilty of violating Section 6, subsection 1 and 2 of the Senate rules and recommended her immediate suspension. The disciplinary action was a response to her repeated violations of legislative decorum, including refusing to sit in her assigned seat during plenary on 25th February 2025, despite multiple pleas from the leadership and other ranking senators, an act of open defiance and disorderly conduct. She was speaking without being recognized by the presiding officer in clear violation of parliamentary practices and procedures on 25th February 2025. She engaged in unruly and disruptive behavior, obstructing the orderly conduct of Senate proceedings, and made abusive and disrespectful remarks against the leadership of the Senate. Part of a speech reads. She was also accused of a fine and refusing to comply with the summons of a Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges, mandated to investigate cases of misconduct, she added. According to the Senate, these actions represented a direct challenge to the authority of the Senate and a violation of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended that govern the business of the Senate and the conduct of its members. The disciplinary measure was therefore necessary and justified to restore order and uphold the dignity of the Senate of a country's foremost democratic institution, the Senate added. It therefore urged all foreign correspondents and responsible media houses to correct the so-called misrepresentations and avoid propaganding falsehoods that undermine the integrity of Nigeria's legislative process. No senator, regardless of status, gender, or political affiliation, is above the rules of the Senate. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension was a direct consequence of her actions and nothing else. We urge the public and the media to disregard any false reports suggesting otherwise and to always seek the truth before spreading politically motivated narratives, Ogbara added. Meanwhile, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, has told the president of the Senate, Akpabio, to ignore sponsored news about his office and concentrate on the job of nation building before him. This was as a coalition of civil society organizations, CSO, women groups, and concerned citizens of Edo State embarked on a solidarity protest to condemn the alleged sexual harassment of Akpoti-Uduaghan by Akpabio. They also decried the 6-month suspension slammed on her by the 10th National Assembly. Chairman of PANDEF, God knows, Igali, spoke at a dinner organized by Akpabio in honor of elders and leaders from the South-South after their visit to President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday. A statement by Akpabio's media aide Jackson Udom explained that Ugali expressed satisfaction with the cordial relationship existing between Tinubu and the Senate president. Ugali said, "Forget about the sponsored news making the rounds about you and your office. But rest assured that we are strongly behind you. We are here today because there is a need for us to discuss with the president of this country on issues that affect us as a region. He was very pleased and he took time to listen to all our requests. It was also an opportunity for us to reiterate to Mr. President that you and our son, as the President of the Senate, we are very pleased with you and we are very happy with the way both of you are working together in the overall interest of Nigerians. Let us assure you, on behalf of the men, women, boys, girls, and the entire people of the Niger Delta region, that we are solidly behind you. In response, Akpabio thanked the leaders and the elders for honoring his invitation to dine with him, promising to continue to make the zone proud by supporting the programs of a President Tinubu-led administration towards making life bearable for Nigerians. You all, what are your thoughts? Let's have them in the comment section below. What do you all think of, all of this? Thank you very much for always listening, my people. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.